All right, so I'm super excited. We have an awesome guest today. We're coming remote. We had to find this guy. He's super, super busy. I'm really excited to have this guy on. We met about a year and a half ago.
Was it that long ago?
About that long ago. Yeah. I had the opportunity to meet the Immortal One, Matt Brown, about a year and a half ago when we were both doing Mark Bell's podcast. So we sat, we had dinner. I'm thinking this guy wants to choke me out. I start pushing him to see how things go. I'm like, yo, man, I could never fight a guy like you. I'll end up just having to shoot a guy like you. And he's like, I hate motherfuckers like you that always talk. And I knew from then, like, this dude was the man. So I have the most respect for guys like this. This guy's, got a huge fight coming up. It's going to be awesome with Ben Saunders. He's giving the fans what they want. These two guys are going to collide in Vegas. It's going to be an awesome time, so I'm really excited to have Matt Brown.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
I can shoot a little bit too, though. So.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to get into shooting. We're going to talk a little bit about everything. So I'm really excited about this. This is an awesome fight coming up with you and Ben. I think it's given the fans totally what they want. I think it's a step in the right direction for the UFC. I love seeing this. How excited are you? And not just excited about the fight with Ben, but the division's fucking liquid flames right now. It's just fire.
Yeah. Look, everything's pretty wild right now in the UFC altogether. I mean, all the divisions are killing it. We got, especially I think 155 is just crazy. Khabib smashing everyone, but you got Cowboy and Gagey tonight. That's a fucking crazy fight. Can't wait to see that. Tony Ferguson's in there. Our division's crazy too, but to be honest, man, I don't pay too much attention to all of it.
Of course.
I mean, I just do my thing. I grind, I hustle, I do what I love doing.
When you get the blinders on and you're grinding like that and you're doing your thing, does it still come to you that, hey, do you ever pinch yourself like that? You're in that division and you're fighting like these guys. You guys are all at a place where you're just all killing it right now. You're doing an awesome job. Do you ever kind of like, I can't believe I'm here and I'm in the mix?
No, I guess sometimes when people mention it like that, it makes me realize like the position I'm in. But realistically, like to me, I look at it completely differently, right? Because I'm a martial artist for life. That's the way I see it. The UFC just tells me the fact that I'm in the UFC competing with these guys tells me I'm doing a good job at what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's just the grind. You're just in the grind, and you're just
I love it. Like it's what I'd be doing if I were poor or rich.
And I love what you're doing. In terms at home, you have the gym, and you're totally devoted to it for life. It's not just a gimmick for you. It's not just something you're just kind of doing on the fly. You're fully committed to this. Where does that come from, and how did that start for you?
That's a long answer for that question. I think my past has been pretty well documented. Most people probably know kind of where it came from. But I try to just never forget where I came from, man. Like I married this sport, and it's
I like that.
That's what saved my life. And
was there ever like an aha moment though, Matt? Like when you were like this is it, like this is what I'm gonna be doing forever. Like were you ever like in a fight, like in a fair, like somewhere because you were there in the old days when it was the Wild West too.
Yeah.
Was there ever that moment when you were like?
Yeah, it was the first fight that I ever trained for. I had a few fights that I didn't train for, did some drugs and stuff, and kind of some powdered courage is what I like to call it.
Of course.
And but the first one that I was scared out of my fucking mind because I trained for it. My dad was there. My brothers were there, friends were there, people had expectations. I was, on a stage in at least what at the time was a big stage, amateur fight. Mark Coleman was there, good friend of mine to this day. He gave us a big pump up speech, scared out of my motherfucking mind. Where I'd fought before, but I wasn't scared. I had no expectations. You get fucked up and you're just going out there just to have fun. This time I trained for it. I was ready. I'm looking at the dude across from me. I'm so nervous that I remember the gloves, 6-ounce gloves is what we'd wear. I couldn't lift them up to my face. I was shaking. I was like, what the fuck is this? What am I doing? This is
just
stupid.
The adrenaline dump is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I go out and beat his ass, man, in 2-3 minutes. And that was the moment I knew.
You were like,
I was because I went from here scared out of my fucking mind to here. I did it. And there ain't no feeling like that.
Is it along the way, going through that process, that first training camp, that you have kind of that moment?
I don't know if I call it training camp, but we'll see what you do.
We'll go with training camp. You had that first training where you're kind of like, I love this life and I'm committed to it forever.
For sure.
For sure.
The first day I walked into a gym, a legit gym, you know, again, I've trained in backyards and stuff for a while, but the first day I walked into a real gym with real fighters, and felt that energy, felt just that passion, and
because for some guys it's a hobby, like they'll get into it,
Yeah.
they'll do it, they don't
The
make it
novelty.
to UFC level, but you were there in the old days, like, you know, you started out and it was still, like I said, like a little bit like the Wild West, and now to see you and Ben colliding coming up, it's great because you guys were there 10 years ago when it was just kind of still a thing, you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
just like, what's this going to be?
15, 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
oh yeah. I mean, it's come a long,
I mean,
long
the first
way.
fight I ever watched, where well, I wasn't in it, but the first one I watched was in a fucking fairgrounds, and the fighters were warming up in pigsties. You know what I mean? I had to walk out on dirt. Like, it's come a long way for sure.
Does that excite you?
For sure, yeah.
To be
Yeah, I don't
on-
never forget that shit. I mean, my first fight, I signed up the day of the competition. You know, I got there. I wasn't even planning to fight.
Did you ever think the UFC would get to this point where it's like, you know, like I go to the PI sometimes and you see guys like Forrest Griffin, it's like you get looked at as like you're one of the legends of the game now. Does it blow your mind to be at that point?
Yeah, I don't think of myself as a legend, but you know, as people toss that word around me sometimes, which whatever. It does kind of blow my mind. You know, this was what we always wanted back in the day, right? We'd be on the underground talking about.
We gonna make it.
Yeah, like how we gonna watch this? Can't wait till this shit gets bigger, and then it gets bigger, and now we're like, fuck, man, there's too many fights, there's too many fucking fighters. You know, this shit's getting annoying. So there's pros and cons to it.
Speaking of which, is there too many fighters? Because for a long time the UFC was criticized where it always had that upper echelon. Now I feel like the middle tier guys and even some of the lower tier guys, they're getting to a point where it's super respectable. You know what I mean? They're starting to, they're holding their own. They're putting together competitive records. They're fighting some guys. Is it getting to the? Do you feel the UFC's come far enough that it's getting to that point where each division, even the bottom tier guys, are still crushing it, still worthy of being there?
Dude, I mean, there's a guy, just because he's bottom tier doesn't mean he couldn't go in and whoop my ass right now, you know what I mean?
Right. Because I know in baseball, like they have those teams, you know, they add teams on and it gets watered down a little bit, the product. I feel like it's come a long, long way from, you know, the old days when the bottom tier guy was like a bouncer in a bar room. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Like you go back and you watch those videos.
I think we all fantasize about the UFC only having the top guys and only having the top fights and being the true Super Bowl that it was initially promoted to be. That's a great fantasy for us, but that's not a good business model for the UFC.
Right. I mean, has anything for you, I know you've taken a step away from it at times and you've kind of done, I guess you call it, what, the semi-retirement thing, and, you know, has coming back into it and seeing what, like, Georgie's doing and certain guys, you know, seeing Jorge Masvidal come back and have this second half of his career, does that excite you? Is that, like, you thinking, like...
Yeah, again, I don't think about it, man. My journey is my journey, their journey is their journey. I followed Masvidal for a long time, and I respect him and what he's doing. I think it's great, so that's a great example. But, you know, my life is completely different. My journey is different, so I can't compare it to others. And I think that's a mistake when people do that.
Yeah, I think everybody has their own place in the game, I guess is the best way to put it. I know I pay close attention to Georgie because he's from Miami, and I got a lot of my homies from Miami. So
you from Miami?
I'm not from Miami originally, but like my best friend Tony, Real World Tactical's from Miami. Ruben Alvarez is from Miami, and those are all really some of my closest friends. So I'm always down there training, you know, spending time down at the different gyms down there, and Georgie and a lot of the guys like Gregory Choplin down there training are all, you know, Colby comes from down there. There's a lot of guys now. There's a lot of guys that, you know, I look at down in Miami and I see kind of how they fight. It's the style. It reminds me a lot of home, being from Boston and being from New England. It's that East Coast
I didn't know
style.
you were from Boston.
So yeah, that East Coast style is something that, like, seeing what George did to Ben, you know, does that surprise you at all? Like him, and I try to explain to people, like, that's studying tape. That's, you know what I mean? And that's just awesome to see that happen the way that it went down. Do you think that, you know, now with the UFC having these guys come over like Ben, it's become kind of the supreme league, and seeing how that's played out, where if you can't prove yourself here, that's it.
I mean, it's always been the Supreme League, always will be, and I think that's going to do pretty well in the future in other fights. I'd love to see him and Masvidal fight again, because I personally, when a fight is that quick, I don't really count it as shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you got lucky, really.
Yeah.
And there is luck in the sport. People might say game plan, whatever. Same with like Connor and Jose. And that's not knocking against Masvidal. I think he would probably beat him, but that just doesn't count in my book.
I think the term is like you catch him every now and then. You catch someone. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he caught him.
The sport has a lot of luck, man.
Now, I know you're a huge fan of other things. It's not just about fighting. I know we talked a lot about shooting and shooting sports and spending time and hunting and different things. What do you love about shooting? What do you love about that stuff? You're from Ohio, so you know what?
That's probably what I love about it.
Yeah.
I'm just a redneck at heart, man. I don't know. I'm just like my family's from Kentucky. Like I just grew up doing that. That's probably the number one thing that brings back memories of my childhood. Like I was shooting clay pigeons when I was like 10, 12 years old. Hang out with my dad in the cold, went hunting when I was a young kid. So that's probably, I don't know if you can describe it when you've just been around it that long.
And now you see, guys like Cowboy doing Henry rifle ads. Is that something that you think down the line you want to get more and more into?
I'd love to, yeah.
Do you have time to go on hunts and everything still? That's the question.
Man, I haven't been on a hunt in a long time. And I've been offered a lot of free hunts. Just haven't been able to.
Just getting out there is hard enough. I mean, having the time.
Yeah, but like I do go out in nature a lot, and like my version of hunting, because I don't have the time to commit to it, is I do love going out and watching animals, especially deer. Just getting close to them as I can, or turkeys are very difficult to get close to, and just be out there in nature, man. Just play the game, have fun.
Turkey's too gamey though.
Yeah,
so game. Like if you ever hunt a wild turkey and try to cook it and eat it, I mean,
I don't like turkey altogether. Honestly, it's a good deli meat. I've talked about this a million times. Well, I don't know why we have fucking turkey on Thanksgiving anyway. Why not a brisket, man? Come on. You're gonna spend 6-8 hours cooking something? Make it a fucking brisket. Let's change America. Let's make America eat steak again.
So we changed the game and we have brisket on Thanksgiving.
That's American more than fucking turkey is, right?
Maybe.
364 days out of the year, motherfuckers gonna choose brisket over turkey.
So how would you prepare the brisket to make it as American? Smoke it?
Yeah.
Dry rub or wet?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Dry rub.
Yeah.
All right, I can get with that.
I mean, I'm not the best brisket guy, but my brisket's still better than any fucking turkey. The best turkey.
What kind of sides?
I don't care. Eat a fucking brisket, dude. Some beans.
Beans.
I don't know.
So what goes with brisket the best is
usually beans and cornbread. Yes, maybe some coleslaw. That's some American shit right there.
Brisket.
Yeah, fuck turkey, man. I'm over it.
I could see a brisket, burnt ends.
Yes.
Some beans.
Yeah, see, you know what's up.
I know what's up.
Can we start the revolution now?
We can start it now. It's a food revolution.
Let's go.
But you gotta hunt it. So if it's gonna be done right, how do we do Thanksgiving right? How do we do it right? How do we make it right? We'd have to hunt it the week before, prepare it. You gotta smoke it.
Yeah, brisket's gonna be a complicated one.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
We're gonna change Thanksgiving.
You gotta change it, man. Fuck a turkey. Your dry ass turkey ain't never gonna compare to my brisket.
Ever.
Even your deep fried turkey. It's fucking bullshit, man.
I don't know, deep fried's close.
I'd rather have a deep fried chicken. Everybody talks about deep fried turkey. Fucking KFC kills your best deep fried turkey.
Have you been following the Popeye sandwich craze?
Nah, I ain't really about that shit.
Okay. All right.
I don't get. Like I heard about it a little bit. Like what was the? I don't know. I ain't about that.
They sold out of sandwiches.
I don't watch TV, man. Like I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. None of that shit.
But changing Thanksgiving hits home for you.
Nah, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Because I'm forced to do that.
Yeah.
Whether I want to or not. I spend this time with my fucking family, being bored out of my mind, listen to my grandma, talk to my mom for fucking 2 hours about the sewing and knitting and shit. Give me a fucking brisket, make it better. Give me a brisket and a Budweiser.
So will you do that this year? You have to now.
Yeah, man, I got 3 kids.
You're hyping it.
I'm stuck.
You have to do the
brisket.
brisket.
You mean the brisket?
Yeah, no, you're hyping it. You have to do the brisket now.
Dude, I try it every year. And this is the first year I'll be divorced, so now I can do it.
You can do it?
Yeah, I could never convince her. Now we're getting divorced, so probably about turkey and brisket.
It's going to be all about turkey and brisket. I'm coming to your house.
Dude, let's do it.
I would. I'm serious.
I'm down. We'll film it, and I'll show motherfuckers how to cook a real brisket.
Do you do anything on Thanksgiving in the gym in Ohio? Do you celebrate in there? Do you do like an open mat? Or
last year I opened my gym about 1 year ago. About 1 year and 1 week actually as of now. And so last year, I mean, we were very small during Thanksgiving, so I didn't do shit.
But this year, maybe some.
Yeah, maybe this year we'll, you know, everybody gets a day off work. I mean, it's America. What do you do when you get a day off work? You get drunk. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why we have holidays, right? We have a holiday every other month in America, so people can take a day off work and get shit-faced and
hang out.
Yeah, it's not really my thing, but
it gives you something to do. I mean, it's not, holidays are really a screwy thing. I feel like they're created by, you know, companies and everything else to make money.
Probably, yeah.
So obviously to sell cards, sell balloons, to sell bullshit. So holidays in this country are really unique because they all center around what you can go to the grocery store and buy. You know, you got to get the cupcakes, you got to get the cake, you got to do the damn thing, and it's not something that.
Only in America, man.
Yeah.
A bunch of fat motherfuckers just like. They're like, oh, I got the day off work, so ain't nobody celebrating this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
people forget what it's all about.
Yeah.
Or what it's
like, I don't like what the fuck's Easter bunny mean? I don't even know what it means. Like, why is there a goddamn bunny? And it's got something to do with Jesus, but what's bunny got to do with Jesus? I don't know.
And how do you tell your kids like this grown ass bunny's coming in the house to give you presents? Like you shoot the damn thing.
It's fucked up, right?
It's crazy. Eat it.
Yeah.
And eat it. So we tell our kids like there's this bunny that comes in the door. And not only does the bunny come in the door, it's going to leave you a basket in the house.
Or is that even as bad as fat dude up north is watching everything you do, watching
everything.
You eat and sleep, and
it's Big Brother.
That'd be good. Like, what, we're desensitizing them?
It's Big Brother. It's totally Big Brother.
I think so.
I think so too. I mean, Santa Claus is Santa Claus even like something that we should be teaching our kids today?
Right.
Maybe not.
I say give them some gifts, and that's what they want anyway. Give them fucking Hot Wheels and shit, and
you know
let them be on their fucking way. Why we gotta tell them about some dude watching you? Like no, son, be a fucking good kid. It doesn't matter if some dude's watching over you or not.
I don't see how any of your kids would be bad kids because you'd scare the shit. But you'd scare the crap out of me.
Well, I'd scare the shit out of my boys, but my daughter, you know, I never spanked her until a few months ago. Well, actually, it was about last Christmas now, and I think about it. I couldn't bring myself to do it, you know? She had a real soft spot in my heart. Not too many of those, but she found the one. I couldn't spank her, but, man, she fucking bites me. She drew blood on my brother, bit him. She scratches me. She tries to pull my eyeballs out. She goes to the mall. So literally, we're Black Friday. I'm doing a promotion for the gym at the mall. And we're in the promotion. I go over, I get her a toboggan, you know, a sledding toboggan thing, not the hat. She takes the fucking thing and sprints through the mall. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm wearing big-ass ski boots, like ready to go sledding and shit. I'm trying to run through the mall and catch her, looking like a fucking idiot out here. So I was like, you know, she'd get kidnapped any second.
Would you let your kids fight?
Yeah, they already do.
Yeah, I mean... That's crazy.
I encourage them, honestly, I do encourage them to be themselves and follow their own path, but I highly encourage them to do martial arts and learn the life lessons. We have a kids program at my gym. I emphasize a lot, I promote a lot about the human development model of the program rather than the athlete development model of the program. You know, athletes are few and far between, and those will stick out like a sore thumb.
Right.
Good humans are a rarity.
No, yeah, we talk a lot about that at 10 Planet, and Casey's daughter, Abby, she's tough as nails. She trains all the time, and same thing. Like she'll scratch your eyes out. She's tough as nails. Yeah. So like when people don't understand, when you grow up in a fight house like you, it's like, you know, you take it on the mats, you take it in the house. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? You're always squaring off. But that's awesome. I mean, the fact that you have that culture and that relationship with the kids, it's phenomenal. But you mentioned a lot, the kids programs are really near and dear to your heart in the gym, and you want to build those. And is that something that you feel a lot of gyms lack, or do you feel gyms are buying into it now?
Yeah, we traditionally, when we think of a kids martial arts program, we think karate, kung fu, or taekwondo. And then they certainly have some benefits to those, but I'm doing something different. We call our program the Warrior Kid Program, based off Jocko's book, as per permission from him. We heavily emphasize survival first. and strengthening the kids first. The idea is that we're not going to be anti-bullying nothing, right? We're being proactive. So your kid, when he walks through the hallway, no bullies are going to think about messing with him, right? So first the kid has to, but first where we start though is the kid has to be able to have the confidence to survive any situation that comes his way, right? So the worst case scenarios, we build those first, right? And that's the same in jiu-jitsu, even in adult jiu-jitsu, right? Like if you don't have the confidence in your defense, you're not going to allow yourself to have any offense, right? So we always start with escaping the worst positions. And then I try to emphasize to them how that is congruent to life also, right? You're going to get in very bad situations in life, whether you like it or not. And there's going to be a logical step-by-step process to get out of it. And you can react emotionally, and who knows, knee-jerk reaction or something, and who knows what kind of way you're going to try to get out of it, and it'll probably make it worse. Whereas you can follow a logical step-by-step process like what jiu-jitsu teaches, and then you can get out of that situation. And then once they get through the initial phase, then we start teaching them offense. And the offense can be jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo, which is also part of the defense, and Muay Thai.
Yeah, the Muay Thai is... Muay Thai, and we were talking about this, the best combination of training, you probably just hit the nail on the head, is somewhere between, and this gets debated crazy, the grappling, the Muay Thai, the jiu-jitsu, kind of some combination of those three.
Again, for survival, jiu-jitsu is clearly the best, right? If you take a kid that doesn't know anything, who's maybe a weak, low self-esteem, whatever, the most likely scenario is him to get taken down and beat up, right? So he needs to learn to escape that first. And then once I've seen these kids, man, where they have no confidence sometimes, low self-esteem, their heads are down, and then they learn just those simple skills of how to escape, say, like a mount situation or something, and they can stand up, do a technical stand-up. And these kids are walking around with their heads up, shaking your hand, looking at you in the eyes, and have some real confidence. And,
You feel like toughness is lost today?
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
It's not valued by enough of our society, I believe.
Because I know what you mean about
agree, for sure.
Making your kids tough and making them understand right from wrong. Because we grew up that way. You know what I mean? That's, if you did something wrong in my house, my mother chased me around with a spoon. My grandmother throw a beating on you in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? In a heartbeat. Now it's kind of like one of those things. Like, it's funny looking back. Like, you don't want to create that culture of like it's the beating first in the house. That was old school. Right. But you also, it's lost today. Like it's just kids today. They feel like they can do whatever they want. They can emancipate themselves from their family. They can be like,
it's ridiculous.
They hate you. You know what I mean? And it's like you're the one putting a roof over their head, feeding them, providing for them, going out there and doing it. And I look at you and I look at a dad like you going out there and you literally take a beating to put food on your table. You literally work your ass off to try to make it all happen. And I feel like today, too many kids today, I don't like to use the term gone soft or the pussification of America, but there's so much, you're doing so much good by putting a program like that in. And parents need to look at that more and more today because it's so lost today. And I agree with you. It doesn't have to be like a bully-proof system like Henna's doing, but maybe something where we'll teach you to defend yourself first. Then we'll teach you the other layers of how to walk away from a situation. Because when you become a true martial artist, you get to that point where you can take somebody down. Like, you can kick my ass right now, but you don't. You know what I mean? And that's the restraint. You know what I mean? Even if it gets to that point, you have to be a true artist, a true martial artist, and you have to carry yourself a certain way with respect. And part of it's because a true teacher you're gonna show me first, hey, I can do this to you if I want to. And I was talking with Eric Anders about this because he's a tough son of a bitch. I mean, there's guys out there, they can impose their will on you, and once you get to that point, you have to carry yourself a certain way.
Sure, yeah. And on that note, I like to differentiate between the martial arts and the martial skills, and I talk about this a lot. There's an art to it when it becomes a live situation, but within the gym, we're really practicing a skill, right? Like
drilling.
We're drilling, right? We're practicing. It's not an art until you're expressing it in a live situation. The same as in like if you're a musician, right? Like you sit there and practice scales, ding, 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 ding. Mm-hmm. That's a skill, and that's basically what we're practicing. Until you perform it, it's not an art.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. So a lot of these kids, they don't need to be martial artists, but they need the skills that martial artists have.
I've never thought of it that. That's a great way to put it. You know, the performance of it. You know, I just feel like somewhere along the way in society, whether it was through just past our generation, right? Some of that was lost. That ability to say like, you know what, fuck it, I'll take the beating. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I've said this before. You got to take the beating. Mm-hmm. You don't always want to give the beating, but sometimes. Coming up, it's the beatings we took that taught us a lot about ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, I never looked at a guy and I never said, you know, I'm a grown-ass man. I never looked at someone and said, like, oh, you know, I don't want to get beat up. Like, that's part of jiu-jitsu. You go to jiu-jitsu, you go to open mat, you're going to lose. Especially when you start out. You're going to lose a lot. Mm-hmm. And you're going to lose over and over and over again. And you have to get comfortable with that losing to start to hone the skills, learn the drills, learn the defense.
I couldn't agree more. And that's probably when we talk about the pussification of America, I think that's the number one issue, right? Is kids don't know how to lose.
And they don't want to take the beating.
Yeah, they can't take a beating. They can't take a beating. They can't lose. And they're used to their parents not letting them lose. And it hurts them, you know, that people don't understand they're hurting their kids, right? They don't understand that they're weakening their minds.
How do we fix it?
Well, I mean, I only try to fix my damn self. I don't try to fix the world. Fuck everybody else. You know, my kids ain't gonna be bitches. I can tell you that much.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do.
And, you know, I think it's the same, man, and I think in all things, I think a lot of people do try to fix a lot of things. And that's the first question that a lot of people ask. How do we fix it? Well, fix your fucking self. And then, you know, maybe other things will get fixed, but fix yourself first. That's my favorite quote in the world, man, comes from Musashi, the samurai, in the Book of Five Rings. You know, there's nothing out there that'll make you better, stronger, richer, faster. Everything is within. So, you know, that comes from the greatest samurai in history.
Do you feel like electing, like the last few years politically, Donald Trump coming in, that's a step in the right direction, at least politically? Because he's big into that, you know. Not everybody's going to be a winner. It's the art of the deal, right? Not everyone's going to win. There's going to be two sides to every deal, you know. And seeing him and the way his family approaches things, you know, a lot of people were begging for that because, you know, not to get too political, but the Democratic side of things was always, you know, give, you know, programs will make it easier for you. You don't got to grind it out. You don't got to go out there and earn
your keep. You open a Pandora's box when you get there, you know, go down that wormhole. But, you know, politically, I'm very different than most. Like, I'm a libertarian at best. Probably more anarchist. So I think Donald Trump is as big a piece of shit as the next one. So
sure,
you know,
absolutely.
I don't think he'd have me hung as quickly as the next guy if I don't. You know, I mean, he'll certainly lock me in a cage if I don't open my pockets to him. So I give a fuck about him as much as the next guy.
And I love the libertarian approach in some regards because it does. In the anarchist approach, you know, I worked for a brand. It was very anarchist. They manufactured, you know, they believe that you should be able to manufacture your own guns. They believe, you know, and that's totally, you know, even beyond the right, you know.
For sure.
So I see it from all sides of the spectrum. I always say, but we have to work with what we have, right? So, you know, as opposed to the last election, opposed to her, it was him, and it's trying to get in that right direction of, you know, kind of toughening up America, I guess, a little bit, and having people understand that you're going to lose sometimes. You're going to lose some deals. You're not going to win.
How do you like the people that on the left act tough about it, right? Like they're going to do some Antifa and shit.
You know, yeah, no, that's a good. You ask a good question. You know, that's
comical, right?
You know, that's a good question. It's something I haven't got into, but you're right. So I think in the left, what you have is you have these what I call limousine liberals, right? So you have these liberals that ride around in limousines. But they claim to know everything that the working man goes through. They claim to act like they know what you go through in the ring, or they act like they know what the working man goes through that earns a paycheck, lives paycheck to paycheck. But the reality is they don't. We know that. But the problem is they cater to a certain segment of society to get the votes, to get elected, to get into the position. So you have these groups that they create, these subgroups like the Antifas and everything, that it's shallow because it's a lot like the leftist mentality, which is I'll create a fake account, I'll create a fake, you know, whatever page that doesn't show my face. Antifa wears masks. They don't like to show their faces. They don't like to be seen. So you're fighting a faceless enemy. You know what I mean? They're creating a narrative, they're creating a story, and they'll show up to things and they just boycott or fight it just to boycott and fight it, but they're not willing to put their face out there and say it. You know, you're a grown man who gets out there, you'll say what's on your mind, you'll put your thoughts out there. I feel like the left creates everything and hides behind a wall of secrecy because they don't want to put themselves out there.
Yeah, good call. Yeah.
You know, so my issue with the left and with Antifa and with some of these organizations, like recently San Francisco came out and said the NRA is a terrorist organization. The NRA is what we have to work with as a group. So we try to work our best within that group. Now, you being an anarchist and a libertarian, you think beyond that, which is awesome, which is badass. And you want to, you know, be your own bubble and you want to be even more extreme. The issue I have with sometimes is we have to work with what we have, but also think beyond.
Yeah.
You know, so Antifa and groups like that come along, they're created, they're fake groups, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If the money ran out to fund them, they'd be gone tomorrow.
I think the tough part about the whole political thing that we have, like
the system.
You know, I don't know if it's our system, if it's the, you know, I guess we got the best, but you know, as a politician, you could be the most right motherfucker ever. That's not what gets you elected. Like you're catering to the lowest common denominator.
Because that's what the votes are.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way you get shit done is by catering, and you gotta think. I mean, most people are fucking dumbasses.
In politics, the formula was always, Matt, start with your base. So if you were a Democrat, you'd be all the way to the left, and then move to the middle. You know, cater to the middle. Yeah. So you satisfy a little bit of everybody. So every first-term politician or first-term president wants the same thing. They want a second term. So how do you get a second term? You have to please everybody a little bit. Mm-hmm. And usually people look at the economy as an indicator because everybody wants to get richer. You know, and that's what I want to ask you is you're a true martial artist and you're a guy who's built his career around fighting and around, you know, gyms and honing your craft. Does money motivate you today, or is it more getting better and doing and continue to move forward in your career? And what's your motivation? Your family?
Money has zero motivation for me, but is obviously
it's a tool.
A necessity. I try to look inside for the answers, and I think for me personally, I look at money as something that the less of it that I need, the better off I am. Right? So
less distractions.
Well, I guess that'd be more like the less that you have, but I mean the less that I need as a human being, right? The more, you know, the more that I desire money or care about money, the worse my life is.
Right, I agree with you 100%. I was in that same boat years ago.
Yes, you understand.
Like I agree with you 110%.
My whole objective is, as a martial artist, as a somewhat intelligent motherfucker, as a just a person that wants to grow in life as a human being, not a human doing, is to not need money at all. Now,
it's a
unfortunately,
tool. Yeah, the world we live in.
Yeah, I got kids, man. Like if I didn't have, and that's where there's always that balance. I'm like, I don't want to see my kids starve either.
No, but you got to teach them along the way about what's important, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's showing them what's important. I learned what's important. Like when I moved out here, I have literally a bed in my apartment, nothing else, because I wanted no distractions, no anything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I literally I try to go to jiu-jitsu. I try to do my podcast, do my work, and I try to go through my day. And the less I'm in the house, the less I'm. I have the distractions of TV and Netflix. Yeah. It's a good day. I try to limit as many distractions at home because we become creatures of comfort. And if you have too much comfort, you become comfortable. And if you become comfortable, you become content. And if you become content, that's going to lead to a whole other host of problems. And money can do that sometimes to people.
Yeah, and it infects your mind.
Absolutely. Now, where does it go from here for you? Is this a one and done fight? Do you want to do a few more? Is this something that maybe you think you want to crawl back into this division and start fucking shit up?
Yeah, we'll see. One fight at a time.
One thing at a time.
Yeah,
you don't have your eye on anybody. Thinking this is it. Just focus on this one and then see.
Yeah, I got focused on one at a time. I really enjoy having my gym. I really enjoy building a business and running that. So I want to continue to grow on that side of things. I also have a coffee business now, the Immortal Coffee. I have to give you some of that.
Yeah.
The best coffee you ever had. So I'm really enjoying kind of doing this other stuff too. but fighting, is my initial passion, and that's what I got to do.
Are you excited that it's Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I don't care. It's just a person across the octagon. I look at it, the whole fight, like I look at completely different, I think, than I've ever heard anybody else at least explain it. Is, again, like I said, I'm married to the sport. I'm a martial artist for life. Right? I can see the big picture right now. I'm gonna die on the mats. I'm gonna do this shit till I'm 80 years old, and I'll be on those mats, and hopefully they're full of people, right? Hopefully I'm not the only one on there, but I'll still be on the motherfucking mats. So what this is to me, like a fight, Ben Saunders, that's a picture in time is what that is. It tells me that's where I was on that day against that opponent.
Oh, absolutely.
The journey didn't stop or begin with that. That's just I look at it like a long hallway of windows. Each fight is a window. I look in, that's where I was on that day.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a huge fan of it from the outside looking in. I was a fan of yours when I met you, but I try not to let that on because it's not my way. I don't fanboy people, but I'm a fan of what you guys are doing because it's giving the fans what they want. You guys are in my opinion, two legends of the mat. It's a lot of fun. There has to be along the way a pinch yourself moment, because if it was just another just a dude, it's kind of one of those things. I mean, he's got to look across at you with a certain amount of respect because you've been around the game so long. And
I won't show no respect when I step in there, though.
Of course,
no.
you have to operate that.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I mean, again, to me, it's a human body that performs certain functions, which I'll see on video and stuff, and obviously I get to see in person. And it's just, okay, is my martial art up to the standard that it should be at today?
How much tape do the fighters watch now? Because I feel like looking at what Georgie did to Ben, there's a lot of tape involved, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? How much tape now are UFC guys watching?
I mean, I've always watched a lot of tape, but...
Because in football, tape is everything. Guys watch
yeah.
hours. Tom Brady's watching 3 days of tape.
Yeah, which is much different, though. I watch just enough. And I found there's a balance. You watch too much and you get caught up into what they're doing, and then that's a problem. I've made that mistake sometimes, so you don't want to obviously not watch any, and I've made that mistake too. So I think
try to watch like the most current fight,
Not even necessarily that. I actually go through the longest history that I can, because sometimes you'll find something he did back then hasn't corrected yet. Still not there. You can say, okay, he's probably not correcting that one. Yeah. And then there's other things you're like, oh, he corrected it, right? There's maybe this thing he corrected, but maybe I can still expose it. Maybe I can find a way to bring out what he was doing before. And that's actually probably, I think, the most important part of tape, rather than looking at, say, the last 3 current fights, which I've done that too, is looking at the longer history of habits, tendencies, and things that they can't get out of their brain.
What part of your game now have you feel has grown the most since the beginning? Because
jiu-jitsu,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you look back at my history, I mean, I've been submitted, and almost every loss was a submission. I didn't have any decision losses until like a couple years ago. I got knocked out for the first time like 2 years ago with Cowboy. No TKOs, no, there was just submissions, and that's because I just didn't do a lot of jiu-jitsu, and now I really love jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. I just didn't like it before.
Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu is something that's come on, so strong in the beginning. And, again, the early UFCs, it's funny, I watched a segment where Bill Superfoot kind of made a point, and he said, in the beginning, they stacked the deck to make jiu-jitsu look really good. If you go back and watch UFC 1 and 2 and 3, and you look at like the opponents, and you look at how the Gracie family built it out, but there's also the theory that that's what they had to deal with, you know what I mean? But jiu-jitsu obviously came out and reigned supreme, and then it was wrestling, and then it was with Randy, it was a little bit of dirty boxing. We've seen kind of all this now. Muay Thai, Muay Thai has become, just as big as jiu-jitsu, if not bigger, and people are complementing their game if they're jiu-jitsu based with the Muay Thai. Do you feel like, if there's one that still reigns supreme, or it has to be the combination?
I think each person needs to have their sort of X factor style or
main
martial arts skill. Yeah, their main skill that's always going to be what no one else can handle. And that's really, I think, kind of what we've moved towards, is like the specialist is coming back. Because what we had for a while, and I may have fell in this trap a little bit too, I think, was getting too well-rounded, right? And now you're half-assed at everything. It's the same in business, right? That you can't chase 2 rabbits, you won't catch any of them, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to really have a strong specialty and say, look, when we go to this area, like, you're not fucking winning no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I can funnel
Suck
you
them
into
into
there,
their game. Suck them into your game. Yeah. No, I like that.
and you see guys even within a certain, I kind of figured that out from watching guys in specific sports. Jordan Burroughs would be a great example. He double legs every single person, but he's got 1,000 ways to funnel you in to that double leg. Right? It's not that he's not the best hand fighter. He's not the best on the mat, but he's going to find a way to hand fight you to a double leg. He's going to find a way to get up off the mat and go to a double. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's
like Lomachenko does that really well too.
And you look at how John Jones manages distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the best at distance management, maybe ever in any sport at this point. You know what I mean? Even boxing.
Yeah.
He just keeps people at such a distance, and he's able to manage that distance so well. And he's at a point in his career where probably that's the best approach for him. And the first, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
And the first guy that comes in is able to cut that distance down. And I think Diego, showed some signs of being able to do that, but he's so good at it.
Thiago.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have me confused. Thiago, yeah. Yeah, I think it's exactly right. We have a lot of good examples now. Like, again, Khabib is one of the better examples. He's a specialist. Not that great on the feet, but once he takes you down, he's going to beat the fuck out of you.
Mm-hmm. It's vicious.
It's vicious.
It's vicious. It's
yeah,
nasty.
I can't wait to see him and Tony fight. That's why I talk about him a lot. Khabib's probably one of my favorites. But yeah, so I think we're getting away from the well-rounded guy. That's kind of like my era that I came through. That's really what everybody would focus on. Like, hey, Chuck used to say it. Liddell, that's where I originally heard. He's like, you need to be a blue belt and a good wrestler and good, good at everything. And it's really like, like some guys some guys, they're just not very good at other areas. I don't want to call anyone out, but some guys really suck at certain areas.
If you were building a Mount Rushmore, because I know you're a student of the game, who would be your top 5 guys? I know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You got to start with Hoist, no question about it. He's an easy call. I'd probably have to put Coleman up there because he changed the game. Mark Coleman, he's my boy too, so might be a little biased there. And then I think Anderson's run was probably the most dominant freak show we'd ever seen. Probably GSP. And then you got to go with Fedor too.
It's hard now with the weight divisions and everything else. You wanna kind of, you can move a guy off, move a guy on. I think John Jones has made a claim to be in there. If you're looking at that light heavy.
But I'll look at so maybe we was looking at a little different. When I think of Mount Rushmore, I think of the beginning guys too. I don't think of this era.
Yeah, it's hard to put it's hard to say. Like in football, it'd be hard to leave Brady off of that right now. You know what I mean? Even though he's still even though he's still playing, trying to draw a comparison, it's hard, like you're saying, to look back on someone even though they're still playing the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like John's still playing the game.
Like John again, his big thing too is like the steroids, the
PEDs.
The trouble he gets in, all that stuff. And
are PEDs something that can ever be managed out of the sport?
No, they should just be legal.
I think they should be legal within a testing parameter, which I know in the NHL.
Why not just let it be legal?
Just let it be totally legal. What's Bellator has it totally legal at this point, or is it Bellator or one of the?
No.
One of them has it on. I thought totally legal, but.
I've talked about it before. I want to start a promotion sometime, probably on the Indian reservation. Bare knuckles, headbutts,
everything
kicks to the
goes.
ground, elbows.
No biting though.
No biting, no eye gouging, no nut shots. Make it a fair fight, but do PEDs, headbutt the motherfucker.
Everything flies.
Yeah, man, just fight.
That's kind of it in the purest form, though. I love that you brought that up, Matt, because that's going back to the beginning. It's kind of like come one, come all. Sign right here.
That's what martial arts is.
You know what I mean?
Right. And all we do is you take out the stuff like the only reason I'd even take out like the eye gouging and stuff is like someone be permanently injured and you could probably that basically nullifies a lot of the you're not going to take someone down because now they're just going to gouge your eye.
Yeah, because the eye gouging and the nut grabbing, then it loses some of the martial art.
Well, if you have nut kicking, then it's just a nut kicking contest, right? Whoever gets kicked in the nuts first loses.
Yeah, like eye gouging, nut grabbing. You take out biting. You take out those three.
Well, maybe we have another division for
the eye
anything
gouging.
goes.
Anything goes.
Yeah, if you're fucking crazy like that, just whoever walks out wins.
You may leave some teeth inside some guys though along the way.
We could wear a mouthpiece. Yeah.
That would be the baddest promotion ever. That would be so fucking awesome. What would you call it?
Immortal.
Immortal
MMA Promotions.
There you go.
Immortal Fighting Championship.
So if we bring that full circle and we put that promotion in, is that something that you think, like you said, on an Indian reservation, is that something you think you'd be like, come one, come all? I don't even care if you pass a physical.
No, you got to probably have a physical. I want you to die from, before you walk in the cage or something. But man, wrestlers would fucking kill it though.
Yeah.
Like if you could out wrestle, like you're gonna win every time, right? You're gonna headbutt a motherfucker on his back.
Growing up, like I know, like I ask everybody this, and I know it's like Mark's a big movie guy. Who were some of the martial artists loosely,
for sure.
But like, who were some of the martial artists you watched and you loved? None.
Nope.
You never watched like Bloodsport or something?
I grew up in an ultra traditional conservative Christian home, and I wasn't allowed to watch that shit. I wasn't even allowed to watch like G.I. Joe and shit.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so I wasn't even exposed to that kind of stuff until my late teenage years.
Yeah. So along the way, you never were like, geez, that's kind of cool,
No, I mean, I wanted to do martial arts when I was a kid. Like, I wanted to, I did some wrestling and stuff, I wanted to go fight people as a kid, but
where does that come from? Like, if you didn't see it in the movies, like, was it just like, I want to be the toughest motherfucker?
Well, I was pushed around, and just
the bullying.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call it bullying. I think, that's a term that gets tossed around a little too loosely itself. I mean, some kids fucking with me because they're bigger and stronger isn't really bullying,
I think everybody's been bullied at one point, though.
People
that's kind of when you kind of, and I think you're right. I think the bullying term's been tossed around too loosely, but I think everybody had a moment in life where like they were just pushed, pushed down.
Yeah.
Would I call it bullying? I mean, I'm not going to be a total
Yeah.
pussy, but it's like, like whether it was playing kickball or something, like I might have been 8 or 9 years old. I remember a kid who was bigger than me, a couple years older than me, you know what I mean, slapping me around, but it's like, I was a little kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could do
That's
that.
what I'm talking about. Yeah, it wasn't like, there's certainly cases of bullying. I don't want to take away from, when the kid's really getting bullied. I don't want to make that sound wrong. But, I got pushed around shit. I was a very, very angry young kid. I think I was way too intelligent for the situation that I was put in. I grew up in an ultra small town of 200 people, farm town. Like I didn't see like skyscrapers and shit till I was like 19, 20 years old. Like and it was like, here's the path. Like my dad was a machinist, so he was like, look, this is what you're gonna do. He actually did I think about for High Point Firearms. He did a lot of their plastic.
The polymer injection and everything.
I don't remember which ones. The 9mm carbine
Mm-hmm.
or carbine that they made. He did the plastic. Originally did the plastic for that. Anyway, that was my path. They're like, this is what you're gonna do, and I was like, I was in a machine shop when I was like, 5, 6 years old, sweeping the floor, and I was running CNCs by the time I was, mills and lathes and stuff, 2 axes. By the time I was 10, 12 years old.
You ever see a guy lose an arm in a lathe?
What's that?
You ever see a guy lose an arm or a limb in a lathe?
No, I never did.
It's intense.
I seen a guy get his eye fucked up though, like ultra hot little metal shaving went. He had the goggles on, but it went around the goggles and in. I think he was on a lathe. Yeah, and that was fucking scary, man. But I've seen some fucked up shit though.
Growing up in an Italian area in Boston, I saw a guy lose 2 fingers on a deli slice at once. That was pretty fucking odd. That was pretty crazy.
Well, I almost lost my thumb once. You can barely see the.
On a deli slicer?
No, it was a bandsaw.
Fucking bandsaw.
Yes, I was cutting a piece of plastic, and the plastic slipped or cut through real quick, and my thumb went right into it. So you see where my fingernail's still cut off. It doesn't grow back right there. But whatever.
It's close call.
Yeah, so I grew up in this ultra small town, and again, I think I got a scholarship to an engineering college, Sinclair University in Dayton, Ohio. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was a smart kid, way too smart. I was held back, but I didn't fit in with the honors kids. Even though I was in these honors programs, I fucking hated school. So
I never bought a book.
Yeah.
I mean, I went, I tell people this all the time.
Yeah, probably similar situation.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the one thing I give the schools these days. They're doing like both of my kids are in the gifted and talented programs, and they're challenged, right? Like I wasn't challenged, like I'm a smart kid in here. I don't want to sit with these fucking dorks, but challenge the kid, right? And you give him a challenge and keep his mind stimulated. Kids have to have that.
I got by, I was a BC student, just kind of like, B's and C's, never bought a book.
Probably about like
studied.
me, right? Like you only have B and C because you didn't do your homework.
If I applied myself.
Yeah, if you applied at all, you'd have straight A's, right?
And I managed to get by on sports, go to college twice. I went to 2 different schools. I went to UMass, then went to BU, and then, I had the opportunity to kind of come out and work in finance, and then went to the police academy, and after, I kind of got into firearms industry. But, I mean, similar to you, I never really was pushed, I never was really told, like, you should go to this program, will push you even further, or try this. And I think that's good and bad. I think some people just kind of, I liked skating through. I never apologized for it. Like, I like kind of just going through the motions. I was never going to go home and crack the books for 9 hours. It just wasn't in my DNA.
Right. But there's other ways to challenge, too. It doesn't have to be a book. Like, I wasn't about books either, but, like I was a hands-on kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The CNC, being in Ohio, I mean, you were in... And it gets my hair sticking up because I love CNC machine work. That's the world I live in. Deep down, aside from this, people see this medium. I love seeing metal fabrication, seeing stuff come to life. You were in, that's the hotbed of it. I mean, that's where it's happening in Ohio. I mean, there's so much going on there. Do you ever want to turn on a CNC machine? You ever wish you had like a small one or a 3D printer?
I love like working on my motorcycles and putting shit together. I love doing stuff like that. I love working with my hands. But like CNCs and shit, they're different now. Like it's just on a computer. Like there's no manual labor out there no more. Like I mean, there's some welding and stuff. Like my cousin owns a welding shop. We'll go down there and build some stuff. And like I don't know if Mark ever showed you some of the fitness equipment that we made. Like that started in the welding shop. Just cutting shit with a hand grinder and a welder.
Would you ever go back to doing that?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I'd love to have a shop. Like that's a skill. It's a lifetime skill that has really been put to the side a lot. So I wouldn't be able to go back to the level that would probably ever do anything for me. But I'd love to have a little shop and fab, some bike parts and shit.
What about doing gun parts?
Or gun parts, yeah. I'd love to, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to build my own bows.
Yeah.
That's a cool ass little thing.
Yeah, that would be badass.
Yeah, I think it'd be a badass. My friend does it. He's a survivalist guy. He makes them out of, cuts down a tree and he'll fucking make a bow.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's sick, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, man.
Custom
Way more
work,
than
custom
I thought.
shop from scratch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Way more work than I would have ever thought.
Limited runs.
No, he'll do it for himself. Like he doesn't like sell them or anything.
You should.
But my one long bow that I have, that guy, he does a traditional style. Made it custom for me. And yeah, kind of, he does. I don't know if he does limited runs or what, but
if you had the time, what would be a hunt you'd want to go on? If you could just write, like you had a week.
Game, elk. Elk would be the shit. Moose maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any specific location or just anywhere?
Colorado, Wyoming. Yeah. Montana maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Alaska, maybe caribou up there or something would be the best.
Yeah, I if I had a pie in the sky like dream hunt, I'd probably like to go polar bear.
Yeah.
Something like real exotic, something that I think.
There's a few of them though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the shitty part, right?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, again, just like the dream. Like if you could just go, you obviously tags and everything else. It's hard. You know what I mean? Like even now, some of the big game in Wyoming, it's getting the tag.
You can't get them.
You can't get the tag. Like everybody always says, moose. Good luck. Try to get a moose tag and be able to taxidermy, get it out. But like that's why I say it's the dream, of what you could do. And with a bow, there's some awesome dream hunts to go on, because if you can say you took certain game down with a bow, I mean there's nothing better than that. Especially
like a handmade bow.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty
sick.
Like
I've been on a few hog hunts, and I had a guy say to me once. Actually, Branch Warren said to me once. He goes, "You're not a real man until you kill something with your bare hands."
Yeah.
So I had to go on a hog hunt. You know what I mean? Just to do it.
I've always wanted to do that too.
Yeah.
I have a friend that does that all the time. Kills them with a knife or whatever.
Goes with the dogs.
Yeah.
And tracks them.
Anthony Schlegel.
Mm-hmm.
You might know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely so much out there. There's so much fun stuff to go on hunts and everything else. And I know you get offers to go all the time. You got to make the time, man. And
I really want to. I really love doing it. What about those caribou up in Alaska and shit?
Yeah.
Is that caribou, antelope, or
Antelope.
whatever? Antelope. That's what I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sick. What was that show where the lady lived by herself in Alaska, and she'd rent it out to go hunt?
Yeah, I know the one you mean. It's
Below Zero or something.
Yeah, Below Zero, I believe it is.
Yeah, like that'd be sick.
Yeah. Do you think you could do a backcountry hunt that's like a 10-mile hunt? Like
my dude is on one right now. He was just texting me from a satellite phone.
Sat phone, yeah.
Yeah, he's out there right now, and he's either in Colorado or Wyoming. I forget which one. He does it once a year. He's a fireman, outdoorsman, like that. Just goes out, public land, and they'll just hike and
for a savage dude like you, that's got to be something that you got to get to at some point in life.
I'd love to, man. Yeah. I can't wait. Like, I'll definitely do it one day. With all the stuff going on right now, and the kids and everything is tough, but
the time will come. It's a season.
Time will come. Yeah,
it's a season. Once you get through this season, you'll get into the next season.
Get to the next, man.
And the time will come, and then once you get little savages up and running, they'll
come with me.
They'll come with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we go on fishing trips all the time now. That's kind of our thing now, is fishing. It's just easy.
Ohio's huge for fishing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some good spots. It just makes it easy, man, with the kids. Like it's something easy to do. We got a fucking pond in our neighborhood. They can go down and practice right there. You know what I mean? Whereas being that we live in a neighborhood, you can't just go shoot your gun out back. So.
Yeah. Do you get out and shoot much?
A little bit. Like I try to practice with my concealed gun pretty regularly.
What do you want to build? What's your next big build?
308,
6.5.
No, I want an AK next, actually.
All right.
Yeah,
that's
what you do too, right?
That's a talk.
Yeah, I really want an AK. I've had ARs long enough. I don't know, they're kind of boring now, I think.
Yeah, I think ARs, it's funny, ARs have kind of run their gamut. I worked and ran AR companies. ARs have kind of run their cycle. The problem with ARs is everybody builds them and everybody can have one. So the AR-15 platform is, like, once you've done a few of them, you've kind of done them all. Like, if you have the pistol, you have the long gun, you kind of reach that point. AKs are coming into vogue. I just had Crispy 11B, the veteran, in, and Crispy, he's big in AKs now. Tony now, Royal Tactical, he's getting in AKs and he's doing shotgun work now. A lot of guys want to get into those different spaces because just kind of, not that it gets boring, I guess, ARs are America, you know what I mean? And so are M1s and things like that. They're a huge part of history, but I think, it's kind of like, okay, I have the pistol, I have the SBR, I have the full size. What's next? You know what I mean? So like the AK is
for me, it's not, like, just shooting it gets kind of boring because, like, it's so fucking accurate. Once I dial it in, it's like I just hit it every time. It's like I don't have to fucking do anything.
So it's like, what's the next thing? So AKs have become really hot right now. Like, I know we can't even keep them on the shelf,
really?
At Arsenal. It's like AKs have become super, super hot.
And I know the AK, I don't think I've ever even shot an AK now that I think about it. You can run it through the fucking mud, man, and that son of a bitch is it's like a block, right? Like
the best door gun you'll ever have. It's the best zombie apocalypse porch gun you could ever have, you know what I mean? Just take 2 of those mags, duct tape them together, keep it by your door.
Yeah, that's what's up, And it's like, I don't need the accuracy that the AR provides.
Right.
Now, maybe if I'm going on a certain hunt or something, it makes sense.
I think it's a misnomer that AKs aren't accurate. They're still accurate. It's a different platform, you know what I mean? And there's a difference between combat accuracy and getting into the sub-MOA stuff and everything else. So it's what it's for and what it's built around. I think the biggest redeeming quality of the AK is the durability. You can run them through mud, you can run them through anything. They're always going to charge up and go. The AK platform has kind of excited me the last year and a half, and one of the reasons I came to this brand was they had the ability to have not just an AK, but the best AK on the planet, and everything is suppressor ready. And now we're doing subsonic ammunition, so everything's ultra quiet. So it's that's just the space that's amazing. My dream build, I want to do some different stuff. Like, I want to do like a badass 17 Hornet gun, like a crazy squirrel gun. Okay. Something like a screaming round that I could shoot like this is gonna sound really bad, but I'm gonna say like shoot like a pigeon from the door. Something like like a screaming little round that I can get, like a skunk gun. Something like that. That's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you're in Ohio, so you have all kinds of little shit running
around.
All
over, yeah.
So you
fucking coyotes everywhere.
Coyotes, like I just want to do because to me a 17 Hornet, that thing would be like suppress, like just. That's all you hear, and it's like whenever you hits drop, it's
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, like a screaming little round. I like to go the other way, like a screaming round.
Yeah,
17 Hornet.
So what's the difference in accuracy of an AK and an AR?
So, the misnomer is that AKs aren't accurate, right? Because you see ARs and they're totally built around accuracy. I would say, where you can get sub and quarter MOA out of an AR, I would say it's safe to say you can still get sub MOA out of an AK, right? You can get those sub minutes of accuracy, but at the same token, you have to also dial it in and have it set up the way that it's conducive to draw that type of accuracy out of the gun. And I think
if you need it, right?
Yeah, it's a misconception because a lot of guys don't scope out their AKs. They don't set their AKs up for accuracy. They set them up just as like I'm just gonna spray and pray. So if you set a rifle system up to properly draw that accuracy out of it, you always will. And if you put crap optics on any gun, it's gonna run crappy. If you put good optics on it, it's gonna. I always say the optics should almost cost more than the gun. If you want to draw the most out of it, a high quality optic is always going to win any day of the week. I mean, if you build a $3,000 AR, and you want to run a sick $5,000, Leupold Mach 5 on it, you're going to draw every bit of accuracy out of that gun, and you're going to be nailing, and dialing it in, and you're going to be keyholing that 5, 6.
What's your carry gun?
So I carry a Glock. Okay,
Which one?
I carry a Glock 19 or a Glock 26.
Okay.
So that's my preferential carry. I just feel a Glock is the AK of handguns. It's super ultra reliable.
You're the 43 now.
Yeah, the 43 is great. It's flat,
So
keep
nice,
it to your body.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Lean guys like you can get away with that. I gotta carry hand cannon. No, but I mean the 43 is
It's a little too small for my hands, but
yeah,
if I need it, it's there and it's gonna fire. Right?
Historically, guys will carry a gun that fits their hand. They can shoot accurately and they can conceal properly. So if you're concealing, you want to always think concealability.
So I pay more attention first to the concealment.
Yeah, because you're coming from. It makes sense for you because you're coming from gyms a lot. You're going to be wearing sweats. You want something that clips in, that's nice and easy, that's light, that you can put on your gym shorts or whatever. You can carry easily, maybe fit it into a bag or a smaller bag.
I put the rubber grip on it.
Okay, yeah, rubberized grip.
Hauer.
Yeah, the Hogue grip.
Okay, yeah.
So, Hogue makes a whole bunch of different grip systems, or you stipple it. You get them stippled, or you get the custom work done to it. But, yeah, concealed carry, I always say, people say, what should I conceal carry? I go, I don't know. It depends. What you can shoot accurately, repeatably, and what you feel you can conceal the best. Mm-hmm. That's going to be your best bet. Some people, will just take a recommendation. And that's always the worst thing. Go out, shoot, go train. It's like anything else. Like what martial art should I do? There's no right answer to that. I can tell you what's going to be the best one. What's going to be the best one for you?
We're probably going to say jiu-jitsu.
You're probably going to say jiu-jitsu.
But judo really is very underrated these days.
Yeah,
that's my big frustration. Is everybody forgets about judo these days.
Why do you think that is?
Self-defense. It's just very traditional. I think like in the competitions aren't what they used to be. Like the rules in judo like made the competitions very undesirable, and there's so many traditionalists out there. Like the entire culture, jiu-jitsu has a culture that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. Brazilians are great promoters. Also, that also helped, right? Because they promoted their sport
very showy people
very well. Mm-hmm. The Gracies did a great job promoting the sport. That went a long way. The judo doesn't have that. It's a very and most of the classes, at least that I've ever been to and that I've seen, are very traditionally based. Like with the bow, you have to learn Japanese and bow to each other before you do this technique, and
it's very organized.
Yes, and then on top of all that, again, you're comparing. I'm comparing jiu-jitsu with judo. I mean, jiu-jitsu, you can be lazy as fuck, right? You can be tired as fuck after a 10-hour day of work. Go in and lay around and do some jiu-jitsu and get away with it if you're good, right? If you're
a dead player, you can get away with it.
You can be it, right? You can do that. Like even me, like some days I'm just tired. Like, okay, I'm gonna start on my back and
let my technique take over.
Yeah, and let's as long as I'm not going with the high level guy or something, I'm gonna practice my side mount defense or something, right? Something simple. Judo, you don't get those luxuries. It's hard every time. You have to be highly aware every time.
If you didn't train out of your gym, what gym would you train out of? Who do you look like? What gyms do you look at and you're like, damn, I like what they're doing?
No, I probably wouldn't be able to say it. Like I wouldn't be able to pick one. I don't like the big gyms. I've been to many of them, and that's not my thing, man. I'm a very
You like the garage style?
yeah. I'm very
Handful of killers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Not even necessarily. I like a couple killers, but John Danaher talk about. I love John Danaher. I listen to everything he ever says. I read all this shit, everything I can, and he talked about one day. He said 80% of your training should be with guys lesser than you, right? And that's something that I've learned over time. But before, I'd always search out the killers, right? And then you're not getting.
I heard that gym up in New York, that Henzo Gracie, my boy went up there. He said there's like
1,000 guys there.
Yeah, I heard there's accountants up there.
Yes,
murking.
Oh well, yeah, lawyers, accountants.
Yeah, there's like people you never even heard of just up there murking people in that gym.
Mm-hmm.
They said
that's the way it always is. There's every gym's like that. Even like Sativa is, right, the wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
They say his brother fucks him up.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the draws for me coming to Vegas when I had the opportunity to come here and come to 10th Planet. It was like, all right, I might be the 49th guy out of 50, but I'd be okay with that in that gym. You know what I mean? Because there was so many good guys training coming out of there.
Yeah.
At that time, we had the opportunity to train with a lot of really high level dudes because of the locale, because of where we are.
There's that. Like when I think about training anymore, again, like I look within a lot more.
Well, you're at that point, I
think so.
Most guys, dream to get to that level. You know what I mean? How important for you?
Well, I think it's important in the beginning levels too, to recognize that I call it the greener grass syndrome, right?
Right.
The grass is not always greener over there, man. Like the grass is greener inside. And I think it'd be the same in shooting, right? Like you go, like I learned from Dom Reza, I bet, right?
Dom, yeah.
Yeah, so he taught me some stuff, and it was a great time, like working with him. But I realized, like, dude, everything he taught me was shit I already knew.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept searching for all this new shit. I was like, dude, what are you gonna teach me, Don? Like, you're one of the best fucking
teach me the ninja moves,
yeah. And there's nothing. He was teaching me shit that I already did.
Yeah, Dom and I go back a long ways.
Okay. Great dude.
And yeah, Dom and I were texting the other day. Like I'm always, we're going back and forth with Dom. Dom's developed a system through Dynamis. That's a system I train in. It's
okay, cool.
It's a great system. He's one of the architects, like Tony at Real World Tactical and some of the guys out there, of incorporating a lot of the jiu-jitsu techniques, a lot of the fighting techniques. Dom I look at as more of dirty boxing, dirty fighting meets shooting, because he incorporates a lot of the striking and the open palm stuff. And a lot of it, when you get to the high levels, it comes back to fundamentals. And it's exhausting, your respiratory system, it's exhausting your adrenaline. And what Tony preaches at Real World Tactical is a lot of, and Dom does the same thing, we're going to get you through the adrenaline dump, similar to jiu-jitsu. But the fundamentals are going to have to take over. So we're going to harp on a lot of like your kinesthetic alignment, developing that alignment, getting.
And, I mean, that's what it is, right? And that's the same. I think I come full circle in my career, especially with the jiu-jitsu coach I have now. It's funny, I've known him for 12, 15 years, but I never really had him as a coach. He was like a great training partner. And when he came and started teaching in my gym, all we worked, for one, we had a lot of beginners at the gym because we're a brand new gym, right? But all these fundamentals that he's teaching these beginners, I'm like, fuck, I'm missing that. I forgot about that, right? And I mean, we've went over shrimping probably 20 times.
Yeah, shrimping ain't easy.
It ain't easy.
Yeah, shrimping ain't easy.
But look, I've been shrimping for 15, 20 fucking years. You know what I mean? And he's like, no, he's like, you've been doing it wrong for 15, 20 years. Here's what you should be doing. And he's like, we can keep developing the shrimp better. And just the tiniest little details. And that's when I realized, again, I already know the answer, right? I'm asking the wrong questions, right? I'm looking for shit that's not there.
Isn't that crazy that you can obsess over something like shrimping, and that's something like maybe a white belt is like, I'm so sick of doing this.
For sure. For sure.
But how is the jiu-jitsu black belt still reign supreme? Is that still the supreme belt?
Yeah, I mean, a belt is, not really
the answer.
Indicative of what like the belt represents time spent, I think, more in dedication, and should represent knowledge also, more so than your actual ability to perform. And like I know some black belts that can't do shit, but they know a lot, and they can and they can engineer things, reverse engineer things. And then I know some black belts, or I know some purple belts that'll fuck you up in a heartbeat, right? So it's, the belt is a indicator of specific things, and we have to know what that specific thing is. And usually, like if I ask someone what belt they are, I'm asking how long have you been training.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Like how long have you been in the game?
Yeah, and how dedicated are you? And like if you're a blue belt, it's like, okay, well you might quit tomorrow, you might not. Like if you're a brown belt,
You've been in the game.
Yeah, you're dedicated, and you're probably going to keep going.
Yeah, I think it's once you hit that pro belt, it's kind of you're established, that purple or higher.
Usually, yeah.
You establish yourself that you know the art, and
Yeah.
you may take a break, but it'll probably be with you forever
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, like if you're a purple belt, then you should have things instilled in you that aren't going anywhere.
Yeah. Do you think that UFC is going to take over and supplant boxing?
No, I don't think boxing will ever go anywhere.
Okay. So it'll be there forever?
Yeah.
It's a question I ask every guy.
You mean Zuffa? Like Zuffa boxing?
No, I mean just traditional.
Okay, because they're getting into boxing now too, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think it's got a lot of history, and I mean I'm the same, man. I still get excited, like Canelo fighting Kovalev. Like what the fuck? Hell yeah, I want to see that fight. But they, boxing's a fucking mess. Like Lomachenko, man, I love watching this guy. Right? Who can't love watching that?
Do you think the UFC getting into boxing is a mistake? I wanted to ask you that.
I don't know.
I
do not know.
I think that might be. I think they should focus on their current brand and product more, and the guys within
they might
that.
be spreading themselves thin.
Maybe
it's possible.
It's possible. I like to see them really take care of the guys in their sport now.
Yeah, I would too.
A little bit more, and that's something when I had Colby Covington on. Say what you want about him, but Colby was a huge advocate of that. He was like, they need to take care of the guys in the sport now.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, like I've semi-retired and I've come back and but I fully retired from it. I was out of USADA testing and everything. I was completely out, and in my mind I was probably out, and it wasn't like there was anything for me. There wasn't no one. I didn't even get a call saying like, hey, here's some advice or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, thanks for your service.
Yeah, there was no post fight, like there's no program.
No, there's nothing.
It's just see it.
I mean, literally nothing. And I'm not the type of person to even bitch or complain about those things, and I'm not even complaining about it now. Like I know what it is, but my point is it can be better, and there's no reason that they couldn't do it. And I'm not mad that they don't do it, but with the amount of money they're making and.
You think they should have a retirement program?
I mean, that's kind of we're independent contractors for a private company. That's a tough one. What I would like to see, at minimum, one of the things I'd actually, I think like I could do with my gym is maybe, maybe someone call and be like,
a wellness program.
What are you going to do, buddy?
Yeah.
Are you going to open a gym? Well, look, we have these contacts that can help you build the gym. Like I've done this whole gym this past year by myself. I didn't know nothing. I had no idea what I was getting into. Right, over a year, you kind of realize like, damn, this is a fucking
QuickBooks,
everything.
everything.
Fucking QuickBooks.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice, and I think it'd be something. Maybe I'll be the guy to step up and like, look, you retire. Here's how you open a gym. Here's a fucking franchise model. You don't have to pay the franchise, whatever, but here's a fucking prototype. Here's a layout. Yeah. It's that simple. I mean, we could all open gyms. It's really not that complicated, but there's a lot of pieces. Or just a consultant, right?
To help you.
Free consultant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, you make an excellent point. I mean, we talk a lot. Like, I think gyms don't do enough, and I even talk about this here with the wellness of the student. It's kind of like, here's your money, here's the training, and it kind of dies there.
And that's where, to be honest, where my gym, we've probably fucked up. And that's where we don't have enough students as we should because I take care of them too well. And don't focus on bringing new ones in. And you forget, like, even as well as you're taking care of them, like, people's lives happen. And sometimes they can't afford it the next month. Sometimes they move, so, you look at your attrition of the gym, and it's like, it's not always because of what you're doing.
It's because of what you're not.
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm just saying that it could be, like the attrition could be due to just life circumstances.
Just life circumstances.
Like, you could be doing the perfect shit. but people still have to move on.
Yeah, there's a theory.
No one's going to dedicate to your gym the entire life.
There's a theory to build a strong gym. For every one you lose, you got to bring 2 on.
At least.
You know.
Yeah, and that's where, again, like, we've made a mistake, and I'm correcting it now. I'm learning about it. You know, is again, you know, just having. I think that'd be something like the UFC could do. Like they knew I was opening a gym. Like, you know, they have contacts. Maybe I should have reached out to them. Maybe I should have been proactive. But why not have someone reach out and say, look, that's a great idea. Open a gym. We could help you with that.
That's a great first step towards a wellness program. I think you bring up an awesome point.
Wellness program would be a great,
yeah, like just kind of like a hey, you know, you were even if it starts like people say, well, where do you begin? Is it a guy who fought 1 fight? You know, that's something Colby and I were talking about. Like, what's the criteria? Is it like, hey, this is a 5-year guy, or he had a 20-fight career? We need to have a program for those guys and beyond that at least checks in on them. How you doing? You know, how can we help? You know, what resources do you need? Something that would be the first steps, in my opinion, Matt, to getting it on the right path, because you guys deserve that. You earn that. You guys are the legends of the sport. You help build the sport and help it make millions of dollars, getting it to that point. And I think that's a fair point. It's a fair thing. You know, maybe it's something.
I don't think it'd be complicated.
Yeah. Maybe it's something to talk about with Forrest. Maybe it's something to talk about one of the guys and say, like, hey, this is something that I think makes a lot of sense.
Because I'll tell you, I'm not it didn't, like, when I retired, like, I was surprised that nothing happened. Now, I'm not vengeful. I'm not mad about it.
No, clearly, you're back in the mix. I mean, you've got a lot of love for them. I know you got love for them.
End up coming back and everything, and, you know, I do love the UFC. But at the same time, I was kind of surprised. I was like, you guys are doing nothing?
It's more a suggestion. Like, it'd be great to see a panel or a group of guys come together and be like, you know, maybe eventually get to a point where you have a veterans panel, you know, a retirement panel that sits down and says, like, hey, you know, this is something you got to put in place, and it's not going to cost you a huge outlay of dough. It's just more resources. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, that would be something that would make all the sense in the world.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll work on it sometime.
Yeah. No,
first I gotta learn how to run my own fucking gym, though.
Exactly. Run your own gym.
This shit's not easy.
Bro, this was awesome. We could go on forever.
For sure,
I don't want to keep you. You know, I want to get some food and hang out and rap
good.
a little bit. I had an awesome time. Tell everybody where they can find you, where they can look you up, and what the best place.
Everywhere, man. At I'm the Immortal, Twitter, Instagram. I think the Immortal on Facebook. Gyms, immortalmartialartscenter.com. Got the immortalcoffee.com now.
Coming soon to an Indian reservation near you.
More promotions.
More promotions where everything goes.
Death matches.
Death matches. Everything goes.
Might have to do that one in Mexico.
That would be bad. That's awesome. I love it. You know, we share a similar love, and I got nothing but love for you. I remember you bringing up Dom and some of the guys you've trained with. I got nothing but love for that. I'm looking forward to everything you got going on. I'm looking forward to the fight. That's going to be freaking badass. Nice. You and Ben clashing. It's going to be right here in Vegas. That's going to be fucking awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I think you guys are going to kill it. You're giving the fans what you want. I got nothing but love and respect for you, man. You're definitely one of the toughest son of bitches in the sport. You know, it was a tough act to follow having Eric Anders on. Now it's just going to be, you know, I just love having guys like you. You guys are the killers and the savages of the game.
Thanks.
And, you know, I really appreciate you taking the time tonight, get some grub, hang out.
Let's do it, bro.
And if I can watch the fight with you, that would be even more badass.
Let's do it.
All right, homie. We're out.